After the draft should be a quiet time for the NFL, right? Roster is basically set. Still 3 months away from training camp, but often there's a story that comes along that keeps football in the news cycle. And this year, that story is Aaron Rodgers. The rift between him and the front office almost took over draft weekend. They came pretty close on that Thursday night. That's when everything was going on, and now it's a slower time. Even a hint of Rodgers news is going to blow everything up because there's nothing else to talk about. Aaron and his agent, where do they stand with this? Aaron and his fiancée, Shailene Woodley. Would they consider Denver? Would they consider Las Vegas? What do they want? Can you somehow repair this relationship? And maybe Rodgers will go on Pat McAfee's show, maybe this show, and clear things up. But right now, it is sort of quiet before the storm. Now, this is different than Russell Wilson, because when Russ came on the show, this was, Tuesday of the Super Bowl week, after the Super Bowl. So Tuesday after the Super Bowl, he comes on. He was there, and when we watched him, he looked miserable. He was sitting there with the commissioner, sitting there with his wife, but he's watching the future of the sport, Patrick Mahomes, and the current or, the greatest of all time, Tom Brady. And Russ is probably going, I'm in my early 30s. Where am I? I don't get a seat at the table with the Seahawks. Tom gets to bring in guys that he wants. Mahomes just signed the richest contract in, sports history. Who am I? What am I? And where am I going? And he came on. He had nothing to promote. We just reached out, thought we would have him on. Fritzy booked him a week prior. He comes on. In fact, he was supposed to be on the previous week. Couldn't do it. Couldn't fit him in, his time slot. And so when he came on, I thought, all right, let me see what we have here. You looked miserable. And I did bring that up to him. And that kind of opened up the door because I think he saw where he was standing. And that's in neutral. And these are just his words. Like Rodgers, I don't have his words. I have other people's words about what could be his words, reports. But Russell Wilson just wanted to have a conversation with Pete Carroll and John Schneider, the GM, just to say, can I have any input here? I'd like to have a little more protection. I'm being sacked more than anybody, and I'll be sacked more than anybody in NFL history when I'm done. Those are the numbers. And he started talking about that. And then I got the feeling that, wait, where are we going with this? At one point, I'm surprised. I just say, you're a Hall of Fame quarterback. Like, could you be traded? And he's like, I don't know. And then I realized that, hey, I can't do this internally. I've tried to do this internally. I'm going to do this externally. And I opened the door for him to talk. And then I had a follow-up text soon after that from a source who said, look, this marriage cannot continue in its current form. And then his agent came out and dropped 4 teams. Hey, if you trade me, if you trade my client, this is where he wants to go. That's different than Aaron Rodgers. And you haven't heard one peep out of Russell Wilson. Nothing. I was told by a source, wait till free agency, wait till the draft. From what I'm told, Russ seems to be satisfied with what Seattle is doing for him. And maybe they fix things. I don't know. I don't know how you fix Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what you can do now. Okay, you fire the GM. Reportedly, once the GM, Brian Gutekunst, fired. Okay, so you fire him, then what? You happy? You still have an offense that helped you win the MVP, helped you throw 48 touchdowns. You got maybe the best receiver in football in Devontae Adams. You got an unbelievably, surprisingly good running back in Aaron Jones. You got a really good offensive line. I mean, David Bakhtiari, hopefully he'll be healthy enough coming back from surgery. You spent, a lot of draft picks on offensive line here. Is money in play? Is that what this is all about? Probably looks at what these other quarterbacks, Dak Prescott signed for, Patrick Mahomes signed for, Deshaun Watson. Hey, What about me? I'm the MVP. And you draft my replacement, Jordan Love. Right in front of me. Don't even tell me. I got a fiance in the mix now. And Diana Rossini from the mothership reported that when the Packers came west to sit down with Aaron Rodgers, she's in the room. She's involved. So there's a lot going on here. But I don't know who's leaking the information. I don't know what Aaron Rodgers wants to say, needs to say, is going to say. A lot of people are talking about him. Here's the Hall of Famer, Terry Bradshaw, yesterday. He was on WFAN in New York and had this to say about Aaron Rodgers.
With him being that upset shows me just how weak he is. Who the hell cares who you draft? I mean, he's a 3-time MVP in the league, and he's worried about this guy they drafted last year at number 1. And for him to be upset, my God, I don't understand that. Pittsburgh drafted Mark Malone, number 1, Cliff Stout in the 3rd or 4th round. I had him coming at me from all angles. I embraced it because when we went to practice, I wasn't worried about those guys. You know, it didn't scare me a bit. So I don't understand why he's so upset.
Okay, this isn't Jordan Love is good enough to take my job. This is, you didn't tell me you're taking a quarterback. You don't have to tell me you're taking a defensive back or a safety lineman, whatever. But if you're going to take a quarterback, how about a heads up? That's all he's asking for. Not that Terry Bradshaw back in his day got a heads up from Chuck Noll that, hey, we're going to take Cliff Stout or Mark Malone. I'm guessing here that Terry probably wasn't thrilled that they used a draft pick on a quarterback. And that's what Aaron Rodgers is saying as well. Got a first-round pick. We got a really good team. We got blown out by the Niners in the NFC title game. Maybe I could get a little more offensive help. Okay. We had Rodgers on. This was November 25th. And he was promoting something and talking about Christmas gifts for his offensive linemen. And, you know, we got around to draft night and him drinking tequila. So what did they get you?
Every now and then they might give me a bottle of scotch.
Wait, is that what you were drinking on draft night, scotch or tequila?
I was drinking tequila. I mixed it up a little bit. I like scotch, bourbon, and some sipping tequila that a friend of mine got me on. So it was tequila that night.
Did the glass did you put more in it when the Packers were on the clock or after the Packers were off the clock?
I would say after, probably.
Yeah.
But I didn't, to my credit, I didn't refill. I started with a strong pour, so I didn't have to refill.
I can just imagine you there, that you got tequila there and the Packers, and they're going to take a wide receiver here. Of course we are. And the Packers take Jordan Love. Did you know they were taking him prior to the pick?
No, I found out
just like we did?
About 5 seconds before the
So I think there's a lot here. There's a lot going on. Now, when he signed the contract extension a couple of years ago, he sent out verbal bouquets. This is great. Thank you. I want to stay here. Love the organization. Everything was great. But you're finding out 5 seconds before, and they were trading up. And to be fair to the Packers, at least, how much time did you have that you could have said something to him? Now, keep this in mind. Minnesota Vikings were thinking of trading to get Justin Fields. You know who they let know that they were looking at a quarterback in the first round? Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins got a heads up. Aaron Rodgers did not. Vikings were trying to trade up for Justin Fields. Packers traded up for Jordan Love. Do I think Rodgers is being petty? Yes, I do. Because you play football. Get on the field and play. The other stuff, what can you control? And if you don't want to be there, if I gave the Niners a do-over on draft night, if I said to Kyle Shanahan, no, a month prior, It has to be a month prior. They make the trade with the Dolphins. They go up to 3. If I would have said to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch at the time, don't do it, because use those 3 first-round draft picks and the 12th pick overall and send that to Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers. Would they have done that? Because now Green Bay has got draft picks. If they're not thrilled with Jordan Love, they can move on from him. They could draft the quarterbacks or surround him with a whole lot of talent. Denver's on the clock, draft night. Justin Fields still there. Mac Jones still there. Did Denver call Green Bay? Did John Elway call and say, hey, I can't draft a quarterback. I've proven that. Let me sign one. Let me trade for one. They didn't call. John Gruden, think about that. He didn't call. The Niners did call, and it was a very brief conversation. Because what can the Niners give them? The 3rd pick overall? Okay. What else? They've already given up their draft picks. They gave them to Miami. If the Niners had a do-over and you could use a package of 3 first-round picks and a 3rd-round pick, could you have gotten Aaron Rodgers? That's far more tempting for me. Now, you can say, well, those picks with the Niners, if Rodgers goes there, so now the Packers, they're going to be betting against Rodgers doing well because you're going to have the 30th pick in the draft. Okay. What are you going to get for Aaron Rodgers, by the way? If this stalemate continues, who's giving up what? And do you have to sign Aaron Rodgers to a new contract? There's a lot of things involved here. But I think not getting a heads up. And Terry Bradshaw, Terry's guilty of, back in my day. Okay. Yeah, back in my day. I don't think Terry was too thrilled. And I was told by a source that Terry wasn't thrilled that the Steelers could draft Dan Marino. Terry got surgery that offseason, and the Steelers were thinking of drafting Dan Marino. They passed on Marino, famously passed on him. Chuck Noll called Don Shula right after the pick and said, I think you got the best player in the draft. Fact. Yes, he.
Before you were running over a list of the many things that Aaron Rodgers has in his favor, yes, Devontae Adams has been great. Adam Jones, right? Aaron Jones. He is surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Don't you think that Aaron Rodgers is aiming for something better than surprisingly good? But when he looks around hey, this guy's better than we thought. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, hey, pretty good for a 5th rounder.
But
how about the first rounder? How about the first rounder?
Well, they made the mistake they bet against Aaron Rodgers. That's what the Packers did, plain and simple. He's not playing at the level that he used to play, and let's draft his replacement.
Hey, here's this guy in the 4th round. Let's see what you can do with him. Hey, you made him pretty good. Good job.
The Packers have drafted well during Aaron Rodgers' tenure there. They haven't drafted offensive players, skill position players. I'll grant you that. But they found Devontae Adams. They found Aaron Jones. So I can nitpick here and say, yeah, you should have taken a wide receiver. Yeah, they probably should have. But, that team still helped him win the MVP. That offense helped him win the MVP. He had to throw to somebody. Somebody had to catch it.
Yeah, I think degree of difficulty is actually what's making him more valuable.
Yes, McLevin.
Their passing him almost statistically couldn't possibly be better. 48 touchdowns, 5 picks. What could he do with another receiver? There's nothing. It's the best season of all time.
Yeah.
But why do they keep losing in the championship game? I can't figure. They're home. What's missing? What could they add?
Well, I think the play calling was suspect. I can put blame on Rodgers. If you're going to be kicking field goals and not scoring touchdowns, that came back to haunt them. They got manhandled by the Niners, the previous title game. So some of this is on Aaron Rodgers. But they have spent, most of their high draft picks in the last decade on defense. And it hasn't been a formidable defense. Yes, McLevin.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Tom Brady was smart. He looked at Tampa Bay's defense and said, "Ooh, they're going to help me win a Super Bowl." But Green Bay doesn't do that for Rodgers.
No, Tampa won a Super Bowl because of a defense. Now, Green Bay's defense, they got, Zaire Alexander is wonderful. I mean, they have some guys who are really good, but that's not hey, we're nervous about that defense. Like Tampa's defense, that'd keep you up at night.